So we're driving on West Street in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, just a bit south, the capital city of Hartford.
We are. We came down I-91, which mostly follows the Connecticut River.
Right, and now we're in Rocky Hill searching for something old.
Well, there's tons of old historic sites around Connecticut. I'm sure we'll find plenty, Jeff. Are we looking for a building?
Sort of.
Ooh, an old and haunted building?
No. We're not looking for ghosts today. And the actual building isn't very old either. It only dates back to the late 1960s.
Okay.
All right, so just make a left right up here.
All right, got it.
And we can park right over there near that huge dome.
Wait a minute. I've heard of this park.
Ray, we've come to Rocky Hill, Connecticut to search for monsters. Hello, I'm Jeff Belanger. Welcome to episode 363 of the New England Legends podcast.
And I'm Ray Auger. Thank you for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England one story at a time.
Hey, I know it's only September, but we're thrilled to announce the brand new 2025 Haunted New England calendar with stories by me and photography by Frank Grace. He's amazing, and it's now on sale. Supplies are limited, just like the past 10 years. And if you have last year's calendar, there's no repeated stories in this year's. You can find a link to buy it in the episode description or on our website.
We'll go searching for monsters in Rocky Hill right after this word from our sponsor.
Oh, Ray, our inner children are going to be downright giddy with this adventure.
Oh, yes, they are. We're in Dinosaur State Park.
Yeah.
I've heard of this place.
This is going to be so cool.
Now, today, Dinosaur State Park is designated a National Natural Landmark by the U.S. Department of Interior. It's a landmark you can't miss, considering there's a huge geodesic dome which protects the archeological finds inside. Plus, there's 2 miles of nature trails around the park.
It's a popular Connecticut destination for sure. And to find out how it got here, let's head all the way back to the year 200,074 BC.
It's Thursday, September 12th. 200,074 BC, and we're making our way through Rocky Hill, Connecticut. The song by is number 1 in the valley.
We're in the Triassic period. It's a time of monsters. There's large trees around us. It looks almost jungle-like where we are. And I can see some hills there in the distance, too. Okay, we need to be a little extra careful on this trip, Ray.
Yeah, we've never traveled this far back in time. Never been in a situation where we're near the bottom of the local food chain either.
Okay, up ahead I can see there's a clearing.
Oh, man, look at that.
Jeez, look.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Okay, so there's a bunch of large dinosaurs trekking through a muddy flat at the bottom of the valley below us.
Those are Dilophosaurus. The larger ones are about 20 feet long from head to the end of the tail, and they stand about 6 feet tall. They weigh more than 800 pounds each.
Wow.
These dinosaurs have large hind legs and much shorter front legs that don't touch the ground. On their heads are 2 fin-like ridges.
These things are predators. Though they're not the largest of the dinosaurs, they're big enough. And because they can move quick with those powerful hind legs, they can hunt larger animals and take them out. If we're near the bottom of the food chain, the Dilophosaurus is much closer to the top, an apex predator.
We're watching a large group of them moving across the muddy valley. They're looking for something.
Oh, man, seems like we're far enough away. I don't think they can see us.
Some of them are looking this way and sniffing in the air.
Oh, no.
They may not be able to see, but they might be able to smell us, Jeff.
Ray, are they...
They're heading right for us.
Run! Hurry up! Ray, get us out of here!
I'm trying!
Okay, where are we?
Oh, more like, when are we? We're back in Rocky Hill, Connecticut.
Okay, well, when are we?
Well, I'm checking the time machine. It's Tuesday, August 23rd, 1966.
Okay.
We seem to have landed in a construction site.
Okay, well, at least there's no monsters. The crew has just cleared the land, and they're breaking ground on a new site that will be a new state of Connecticut official building. I can see a bulldozer has just flipped over a large piece of gray sandstone, and he's clearing the land.
This is a huge construction site. There's a lot of equipment and people working to make room for this building.
Whoa, what is that?
The guy driving the bulldozer looks confused.
Yeah.
He's stepping out of the machine and walking over to the stone slab that he just flipped over.
Look, check that out.
I see it. There's a large fossil of a footprint with 3 toes. It's perfectly preserved.
Pretty soon, other workers discover more footprints. And that's when construction stops and archaeologists move in. Bulldozers, dump trucks, and backhoes make way for people with small handheld shovels and brushes. And as archaeologists clear the site, they find hundreds of these tracks. It doesn't take long for the state of Connecticut to scrap the building project altogether and decide to preserve the site.
More than 2,000 dinosaur tracks are found by the time the archaeologists finish, making this one of the largest collections of fossilized prints in the world. The museum officially opens in 1968, and that brings us back to today.
So, Ray, let's head inside the dome and see these preserved footprints.
Wow, it's amazing in here.
No kidding, right?
Around the walls, there are paintings depicting the Dilophosaurus that made these tracks. There's a lot of information on the dinosaurs of this era. There's a discovery room, but then there's a wide open area where you can clearly see dozens of footprints all over the giant slab of rock.
Oh, do you see our footprints anywhere?
No, I don't see our Chuck Taylor prints anywhere.
Okay.
We must have been just far enough away before we time traveled out of there.
That makes sense. Plus, 200 million years ago, all the land was one supercontinent called Pangaea. New England was pressed against Old England and Europe and so on. All of us just one big happy landmass. So who knows exactly where Rocky Hill, Connecticut was on a globe all those years ago?
I'm sure someone smart could figure that out.
Someone smarter than us, for sure.
Well, that's not saying much.
Ray, what do you call a blind dinosaur?
What?
Do you think he saw us? What do you call a dinosaur that sits on a nail?
What?
A megasaurus?
Right.
Do you know why the Dilophosaurus can't clap his hands?
I don't. Why?
Because he's extinct.
Oh, Jeff, these are terrible.
They really are. But 10-year-old Jeff and Ray would be laughing our butts off at these gems.
Probably.
Still, there's something about dinosaurs. Almost every kid loves them. And I love that there were monsters right here where we're standing. Giant monsters who left a mark that we're still talking about 200 million years later.
And we love that you're still with us for After the Legend, where we take a deeper dive into this week's story and sometimes veer off course.
After the Legends brought to you by our Patreon patrons. If you enjoy our show, please thank a patron because they're the backbone of everything we do. They help us with our hosting and production costs, marketing, everything else it takes to bring you 2 stories each week. They take care of us, so we do all we can to take care of them. They get early ad-free access to new episodes. They can get access to our entire back catalog of podcasts. They get bonus episodes and content no one else gets to hear. And they get discounts on our tickets and merch, all for just $3 per month. Help us out. Please go to patreon.com/New England Legends or click on the Patreon link in the episode description. And to see some pictures from Dinosaur Park by our friend Lauren Middleton, you can also click on the link in our episode description or go to our website and look for episode 363.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah. Monsters.
Well, were you a dinosaur kid?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not obsessive like others, but I mean, how could you not?
Sure.
Right?
But I don't think I was the kid with the picture book that was memorizing every dinosaur, had the toys, you know.
Yeah, I had some of the toys and I could get into the books, but yeah, I was not like, that was not my main thing. I liked space stuff.
Were you a space kid?
Yeah, I was more space nerd than dinosaur nerd.
I think I was an army kid. Like I was G.I. Joe.
Yep,
loved playing army out in the woods.
Yep.
Did that
too.
a lot.
Yeah. But I was thinking about this. So imagine, okay, not 1960s, but imagine 1660s or so, and you're walking through a field and you see footprints that huge.
Sure.
3 claws, right? That are right there in the stone.
Yeah. And with less development back then, they were probably easy to find, I would think.
But like a monster was here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You don't know what that is.
When was it here? Was it here 2 weeks ago?
Right.
So big it just crushed into the stone and left these.
Oh, I never really thought of that.
It's a dragon.
Before we knew,
Right.
it could have been anything.
Right. So some giant beast, and a lot of them, because there's hundreds of tracks. Now, granted, some of these had to get unearthed, by the earth movers.
Yeah.
But imagine finding fossils. And then you hear stories about dragons and things like that. And you're like, it's not really a stretch, is it?
Right.
If you found a giant winged creature's, fossil.
Yeah.
This, maybe you don't quite understand that it takes millions and millions of years for bone to turn to stone.
Yeah.
But all you see is what's obviously before your eyes.
Yeah. You'd probably not want to visit that area again. You'd maybe go home before dark.
You'd have stories about what that creature would do when it was alive.
And you're telling your neighbor, and then your neighbor's saying, my neighbor saw this.
Right.
And that's how legends start.
Imagine a pterodactyl like, I heard it breathe fire.
right?
You know, and you're like, oh my God. Like as if I wasn't.
We'll call it a dragon.
As if I wasn't scared enough just looking at it, you know?
Yeah.
It breathes fire too. Perfect. Right? So not only could it just crush me like a
and it has wings.
And it's got wings and it can fly out of the sky and snatch you up. And then you see these footprints in Connecticut. Like the idea that monsters were here is just not far-fetched. They were here.
What an amazing idea that back then people were just scared constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Looking up to the stars and seeing like something shoot across an asteroid or whatever, a shooting star or even a planet and not
Falling
knowing
star.
what it is.
A falling star, right? And
Not
you're
even
like,
knowing what the stars are.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are those things? Can I reach up and grab them?
right? Yeah.
Gosh.
Different time.
Different time. Now we have the internet.
We do. And we realize the earth is flat and and those are just God's tears. So, duh.
It took so long to figure out the world
so
and
much
that it was
smarter
round.
now.
Then somebody decided, no,
We're
going to go
back.
with flat.
We're going to go way back. We're going way back to like Galileo's rolling his eyes
boy.
going, oh, come on. Really? I proved it.
It's quite the waterfall, though, at the edge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a doozy. Don't go over it. But yeah, I love that there really were monsters here. And the imagination that sparks, like that park. I never got to visit it as a kid. I didn't live all that far away. Growing up in a new town, I mean, it was only like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe
45 east or west or like how far from here?
From here, it's probably an hour and 40.
Yeah.
You know?
I'd love to check it out someday.
Hour and a
I
half.
didn't know it existed.
Maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
You know, like just south of Hartford. So
Oh, that's not bad at all.
no. So no, it's an amazing place. And but when you see those footprints, imagine being 5-year-old Ray.
Yeah.
And you see, there they are. They're right there in front of you.
Yeah.
All these footprints. And there's a word for it, and I didn't want to get too technical because I would just mess it up. Right? Like it's so fossil bones are fossils. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Footprint is something else because there's no bone or anything. It was an impression left in mud and it dried. And that mud obviously like turned to stone, which is a process that takes a long, long time. So just think of what must have had to happen. That 2,000 footprints were preserved for the ages.
Yeah.
Wow. Like something must have settled on it just right and nothing else came by.
This life is bigger than us, Jeff.
Oh, I know. Millions,
really is.
Hundreds of millions of years.
Isn't that crazy?
Nothing touched it until a bulldozer.
We're lucky if we get 80 or 90 of those 200 million years.
And a bulldozer comes along and says, oh, I found a footprint. You know? I think it's just so incredible.
I hope that guy got a raise or something or a bonus.
I bet he got fired because they're like, now the construction project's canceled. We can't build the building we were hired to build. I'm sure they built it somewhere else, but that was the plan. They were building an official state of Connecticut building. They cleared the land and they were just doing their construction job. And I know from working on Ghost Adventures, I can tell you this, every once in a while, especially like, you know, if you're near Civil War sites or whatever, or even not, once in a while, a construction worker will unearth a skeleton, a human skeleton, very clearly a human skeleton. And there's nothing that the foreman hates worse than that because you have to call the police and everything has to stop. Then the police come, they bring the medical examiner who very, very quickly can say like, all right, if this is a crime scene, it's an old one. You know, like this goes back a long way. But then you got to wait again for the state archaeologist to come in and say, is this important? Do we need to like preserve this? Do we need to study this? And if so, then you're looking at weeks or months of not working. And if not, they could say, oh, this was just a family burial plot from 1850. And you go, oh, okay, well, let's just move it respectfully and get back to work. But you're still losing days and days.
Where do they put it? Where would they put those bodies?
Your backyard.
Oh, is that what
I offered it up.
Holes are back there?
I said, look, you know what? You got to put them somewhere. Probably local cemeteries if they have no clue who it could have been.
What a hassle for everybody involved.
Everybody. I know. And you're trying to be respectful. Someone was buried here or whatever. But yes, when you find old things, progress stops.
You ever find an arrowhead?
Oh, sure.
You did?
Yeah. I found fossils.
Have you?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I'd found a rock with like a little leaf on it or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Like a fossilized leaf.
I've seen those.
Not like a T-Rex bone or something. But look, I've seen like, and that's wild. I mean, that's still a pretty miraculous thing. There was a place I went to in Pennsylvania as a kid. It was just known for fossils. And you could go, you paid like a couple of bucks and you could just go play in the dirt and look for them. And I remember finding like, you'd see like a leaf imprinted on a little stone.
Because that's old. I mean, that's got to be old.
Millions of years old. Yeah, I thought it was super cool. So the dinosaurs stir up something magical in us. And we know they can never come back unless you watch Jurassic Park.
Right. Unless you're Steven Spielberg, you can bring them back.
We haven't made one Jurassic Park reference.
I know, right? Well, I
feels
thought
late.
of it earlier on, but
This
it's too
feels-
late now.
Is it too late? Should
Yeah.
we just skip it?
I was talking about kids, being a kid and what you're into. Some
Yeah.
kids are into dinosaurs. I didn't get into dinosaurs until Jurassic Park.
Well, right. Because that movie seems so plausible.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's this little piece of old stone that had mosquitoes got the DNA,
Yeah.
and we can just extract enough and we can rebuild one. What could go wrong?
Thank God he made that movie so that we can stop trying to do that.
Because
In real life.
someone's probably trying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're like, no, I think I could scrape enough DNA off those old fossils and put something together.
And they
then-
tell other scientists, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm working on. And
Like-
then the scientist sits them down and makes him watch Jurassic
we're
Park.
going to take a 2-hour break. Bring
Just
the
want you to
TV in.
watch this.
Yeah. It's ready to go. We're going to talk when this is done.
Yeah.
And nature finds a way. No, we'll just have females. Nothing could go possibly wrong. But nature does find a way to stick around.
Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts because it's free. Also, if you'd post a review for us, that would be awesome. Share some of the episodes with your friends. That also helps us because most of our story leads come from you. So please get more involved with us. Email us anytime with your story leads.
We'd like to thank our sponsors. Thank you to our Patreon patrons. And our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember,
The bizarre is closer than you think.